Whoa, whoa, whoa. Slow your roll there, Scott. All right, I get it. I've been geeking out on ChatGPT for the last couple of months now, and I'm getting way ahead of most people that are just hearing a ChatGPT or they heard about it, but they're not quite sure how to use it. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to roll this thing back. We are going to start at 101, and I'm going to show you what ChatGPT is. I'm going to give you an overview. I'm going to help you kind of understand what it is and how to use it and why it works. And then we're going to show you how to log in. Yeah, we're going to go that simple. We're going to show you how to get an account, how to decide whether you want to do a free account or a paid account. And then I'm going to show you the difference between a free account and a paid account so that you can make your own decision. So let's get into this thing. Let's minimize me because I am not the important one here. And then there we go. So, okay, so nerd alert, right? So here's a brief overview of what a AI is basically. So AI, that what we used to say was AI was like Jasper AI that would do headline formulators, copywriter assistance. Um, Jasper AI is to artificial intelligence. Um, Kind of the best way I can describe it, if you're a Star Trek nerd, it's like Jasper AI is a Lego kit for the USS Enterprise, and ChatGPT 4 is the actual Enterprise with hologram decks and replicators, and it can actually travel through different dimensions. That's the difference between what we used to think AI was and what we're experiencing right now with this tool. Now, another thing you hear around AI is natural language processing. So natural language processing is the way that the algorithm goes in and looks at the information, and then it's how it observes the information, and then it's how it pushes the information back out to you. It understands natural language. You can just speak to it and give it commands, and it will do whatever you ask it to do, and it'll put it back. It'll give it you the results in a natural language way so that you can completely understand it. The other big thing with AI models, so the natural language processing part of the algorithm, that's just the mechanism. That's the algorithm that analyzes the data, takes the input, analyzes the data, and puts the output. LLM stands for large language model, which is the data set. So you have your AI, you have your algorithm, and you train that algorithm with a data set to teach it what you want it to learn about. What kind of output do you want from it? So you're feeding it all of this information. So a large language model just means that we have billions and billions of data points available for the algorithm to determine to reference, to determine what you're to identify what you're looking for, what you're asking it, and then give you an answer in a way that you can easily understand. So, what is ChatGPT? So, ChatGPT is a large language model, natural language processing algorithm chatbot. So it's a chatbot that you can type in questions into the chatbot, and then it's going to access billions of data points that go up to September 2021. And then you're going to ask it natural language questions. It observes all of the data points, and then it applies reasoning, logic, and context to your question and to the content or to the data points that it's observing, and then it outputs a natural language answer that is essentially what it believes you asked it to do. And we're going to give you a bunch of examples in this, so don't worry. This is the nerd alert part. You'll be fine. So it's important to know what ChatGPT is not. It is not smart. Okay, it's a trained algorithm. It's hard to tell that it's not smart. It's hard to tell that it's not a sentient, artificial general intelligence, AGI. but it is not. It's just an algorithm, and it's just doing what you're telling it to do, but it's doing it in a really, really amazing way that you've never seen before. So Arthur C. Clarke's has a quote. It says that advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And that's what we're dealing with right now. It feels magic because it's an advanced technology that most of us have never encountered before. It is not creative. It does what you ask. It's not going to come up with things. Now, if you ask it to come up with some things, it can, but it's not going to be creative. And a lot of people are worried, well, if everybody uses ChatGPT to produce content, aren't we all going to have the same content out there? Well, no, that's absolutely not true. And I'll show you that in a little bit. But it is not creative. The person that uses this technology in the most creative ways, it's going to amplify the input that you put into it. So if you put in dumb questions that everybody else is going to ask, you're going to get the same answers, somewhat similar to the same answers everyone else is going to get. If you're creative with this and you start using it in a very creative way, you're going to produce results that nobody else is going to produce because they are not you. They do not have the same experience as you. They don't think the way that you do. They don't process information the way that you do. So while it is not creative, it just does what you ask, and it's not always right. You have to check your work. I caution against using ChatGPT to ask it to produce results on something that you don't know whether it's right or not. So if you go in there and you ask it to, oh, I don't know, explain string theory or chaos theory or quantum computing to you. If you're not versed on those topics, you're not going to know whether it's giving you the right answer or not. Where you can run into trouble is having it translate. It'll translate into multiple languages. But if you don't speak those languages, I wouldn't publish that content. It is also not connected to the internet. ChatGPT only has a data set that goes up to September 2021, if you can believe that. It seems like it knows what it's doing. And there are ways for you to give it content that was created after September 21. But when you go into that chatbot, you can't ask it what the current market rate is or what the current real estate market is or what inventory is in this zip code in 2023. It's not going to know. It's going to tell you my data only goes up to September 2021. Now, all of that said, the results that it gives you seem superhuman. So basically, when you type in a chat or you type in, it's called a prompt. So when you type into the chat box, that's called a prompt. You're prompting it to give you an answer. So when you type in a prompt, based on the information you give it, you will receive its best guess at what it thinks you're asking for. Okay. It feels superhuman because it accesses billions of data points in milliseconds and it speaks in plain language. So, again, advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic, and it really, really feels that way. So let me give you an example. So that slide that I just showed you, I wrote that. Um, I think it can be written in a different way. So let's take it over to ChatGPT. And I put in the prompt. I am trying to describe how ChatGPT seems superhuman. This is how I describe it. And then I pasted my previous slide in there. And then I ask it, can you rewrite this to make my point a little more clear? And it comes back and it says ChatGPT appears to possess superhuman capabilities due to its remarkable ability to process and analyze vast amounts of information within milliseconds. By interpreting the information provided, it generates highly accurate and relevant responses in a comprehensible, everyday language. This remarkable speed and fluency creates the illusion of a superhuman intelligence at work. So that's ChatGPT rewording my question. And that's pretty good. It's easy to understand. Now, here's where ChatGPT gets interesting. Now, can you write this at an eighth grade reading level? So I'm going to ask it to say it in another way. Now, there's a couple of things that I want you to notice here. I'm continuing the conversation. One of the things this technology does that we've never experienced before is it remembers your entire conversation. It can draw on previous questions. It can reflect on previous answers. It can expand on previous things that you were talking about. It remembers everything. So I didn't have to go through and retype in everything and say, now write this at a reading level. All I had to do is type in, now can you write this at an 8th grade reading level? And here's what it says. ChatGPT seems almost like it has superpowers because it can quickly look at a huge amount of information and give you a clear answer in no time. It uses everyday words to make it easy to understand, making it seem incredibly smart and fast. That's pretty cool, right? That's actually one of the secret weapons when you're using this AI is you're asking it to output at a specific reading level. 8th or ninth grade reading level seems to be about where you want to be most of the time. It just really depends on who you're talking to, what the conversation is, and who your audience is. But you want to always ask it, output this answer at a specific reading level. That's a little pro tip on the 101 class. So you'll remember this when you get to that point. The other thing you can do is you can have it act like something. So this particular question, I put in this prompt, now act like a computer professor at community college, explaining this to young adults that have already been in your class for half of the year. Here's what it comes back with. All right, class, by now you're familiar with ChatGPT, an advanced AI language model. It appears quite impressive, doesn't it? This is primarily due to its its ability to rapidly process and analyze enormous quantities of data. When provided with a query or a prompt, ChatGPT can generate well-informed and relevant responses in a matter of milliseconds. Additionally, it communicates using clear and plain language, which contributes to its perceived intelligence. Now, keep in mind, while ChatGPT may seem superhuman, it is actually the result of complex algorithms and vast training data, which enables it to generate such accurate and coherent responses. As we progress in our studies, we'll delve deeper into the mechanisms behind this remarkable technology. So you see what it did here? I didn't say anything about its vast training data. I never use those words in my prompts, but as a computer teacher or a computer sciences teacher is what I meant, but I think it understood what I was saying. As a computer teacher, it says it's a result of a complex algorithms and vast training data, which enables it to generate the results. So you can kind of see what it's doing here, right? And we're still in the same conversation. So I didn't have to tell it how to explain it because we already discussed that. I just told it what to act like, how to act like. So here's another example. Awesome. Can you explain this as Jeff Spicoli from Fast Times at Ridgemont High? So anybody that ever saw Fast Times at Ridgemont High. So, all right, I'm going to give this a shot for anybody that's just listening to this. Whoa, dude, like ChatGPT is this far out AI thing, man. It's like it's got these gnarly powers or something because it can like figure out what you're asking super fast and it's all chill about it. You toss it a question its way and it's like, no worries, man, here's your answer. And it's all like in plain English, in plain talk. So it's easy to catch the wave, dude. It's not like some spaced out alien brain or something, though. It's just like some heavy tech stuff doing its thing. So, it's all good vibes, man. And props to the brainiacs making it happen. Right on. So there you go. This is my Spicoli impression. That was actually pretty good if I don't say so myself. But you see what I'm saying? So all I did was I told it Jeff Spicoli, definitely. If you're my age, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. You know all about that movie, but that was before 2021. So that data is available and it pulled it. And that was pretty right on. All right. So now that you kind of see a little bit about how it works, let's roll this thing way back and let's teach you how to log in, how to find it, how to log in, and how to determine whether or not you should pay for it. Okay. So the URL, the domain address to get to it is chat.openai.com. So ChatGPT is actually a technology that was created by the company called OpenAI. So when you hear OpenAI, um, it's sort of synonymous with ChatGPT, but OpenAI does a lot more things than ChatGPT. It has different AI programs. It actually has a like an image generator called DAL E, DALL dash E, and that's OpenAI. It's a little bit different from ChatGPT. So if you just type in ChatGPT, you're going to kind of get all kinds of stuff on the internet. There's a lot of stuff out there now. This is the address. This is how you log in. Chat.openai.com. Okay. First screen you're going to see is the login screen. It's just going to say login or sign up. You're going to use, you can either use your email address to sign up, or you can use Google, or you can use Microsoft. Now, Microsoft Bing, uh, or Microsoft has a browser. They keep saying that it's Bing, but I think it's called Edge. It's like, I'm on a Mac, so I had to download a specific browser that uses ChatGPT, and but it does power it. Google is using its own AI that it's developed. Microsoft, in true Microsoft fashion, is taking the best in the market that somebody else created, and it's integrating it into its products. So it's going to ask you to ask for your name and your birth date. And this is data so that it knows who's testing it. It's going to ask to verify your phone number, and then it's going to send your phone a code. This is pretty normal. You're used to this with a lot of, how you sign on to a lot of different programs. So once you get that code, you're going to see a welcome screen, or you're going to see a series of 3 welcome screens. The first one here, it says very clearly, this is a free research preview. Okay. So again, ChatGPT literally came out like last November, the very first version of it. And ChatGPT 4, which is the paid version, which I'm going to convince you that that's what you need to use further on in this presentation. This is just a little experimental ground here. I don't know if it's going to end up being a public product. I think it's just testing the algorithm. It's very likely that it's going to continue to exist in this form as a product moving forward. But right now, this is just a test. This is just a free research preview. This is just to test the algorithm. And basically, their goal is to get as much feedback and provide as much information as possible. It gives you a little warning here, and it says, hey, we put in a bunch of safeguards, so it shouldn't say anything nasty or offensive, but it might. Because we don't know what it's going to do. And I haven't seen it come back with anything offensive, but then again, I haven't asked it to do anything offensive, and nor will I. So that's not how I use this tool. Quite frankly, this tool is a very, very powerful tool. And with great power comes great responsibility. So you're always going to hear me talk about using it responsibly and using it the right way. So the next screen, it's going to say how we collect data. All of the conversations go in, and they may be reviewed by AI trainers to improve the system. So your data is probably going to be looked at. It's going to be analyzed, and they ask you to please do not put any personal or sensitive information in there. It's just not necessary. You shouldn't, and don't. So then the third screen, it says we'd love your feedback. So again, in the beginning, I said that ChatGPT is an algorithm. Well, okay, this try not to get too complicated on this. This is an algorithm that is being trained. it's being optimized for dialogue. So that's what the chat bot is. Chat GPT is a chat bot. You chat a question to it, and it is being trained on natural language processing, for dialogue. It is meant to be able to have a conversation that is indistinguishable from a human conversation. And that is what it is trying to learn how to do. And then they encourage you to provide feedback on their Discord server. There's also opportunities to kind of rate with a thumbs up or thumbs down the answers that you're getting from ChatGPT. And I encourage that you do that because it really does train the algorithm to be more accurate and to be more concise. So once you go through all of that, you're going to have access to the dashboard. Now, this is the free version of ChatGPT. You can go to town on this thing. The version is called 3.5. I've heard it called 3.5 Turbo and 3.5 Legacy. I don't think that they're different. Well, I think Legacy is maybe the first 3.5, and then there's a 3.5 Turbo, which I think is faster, maybe. So this is the free version, which is 3.5. Now, when you log in, you're going to see on the left-hand side of your screen, upgrade to Plus. Now, what Plus does is that is ChatGPT 4. So ChatGPT 4 is way, way advanced from the free version. Like it's not even close. So this is a screenshot of 4. Because I'm already a Plus member, and I'll show you there's that drop box that says which model you're using. Actually, if you're looking at this screen, you see that it says browsing. I got on the list for the plugins for ChatGPT, so I got access to a version that's actually connected directly to the internet. And it was really, really bad a couple of weeks ago. It's getting a lot better, but it's definitely not there yet. But what you'll see on the left-hand side is it defaults to ChatGPT 3.5. And 3.5, they're giving you a little rating here so that you kind of know how it operates. And the three measures it's using is reasoning, speed, and conciseness. So 3.5 is 3 out of 5 on reasoning, 5 on speed, and 2 on conciseness. Okay. Now, on the right-hand side, you'll see ChatGPT 4. It is 5 on reasoning. And those last 2 spots for reasoning, I'm going to show you an example of what the difference between these two are. Speed, it gives it 2 out of 5. But honestly, man, maybe GPT-4 is like takes a second, where 3.5 takes milliseconds, maybe. But milliseconds to an inaccurate answer, I would rather it take a full second or 3/4 of a second to give me a reasoning and a concise answer. So your speed is slower, it says, but it's not really distinguishable by the human patience. And then conciseness is way up there, a 4 out of 5. So how do you get started with 4? You click on the plus and it asks you to upgrade the plan. It's only $20 a month. There's no contracts in there. I absolutely encourage you to do it. And once you get into 4, you're going to see the drop down box that you see on the top of the screen, and then you're going to have your little chat box down there on the bottom. So when you log in, once you get the premium version, the ChatGPT 4 or ChatGPT Plus, it's going to default to 3.5, or in my case, it defaults to the browser, whatever the top one is. So you have to go to the drop box and you want to go down and you need to choose 4. So what's the difference between 3.5 and 4? So I created this little logic problem that actually ended up being way more interesting than I had expected. So my goal here really was to kind of try to trick it with words. I wanted to see if it could understand context and if it could reason what I'm trying to say out of this question. So this question, I typed into 3.5 first. So what we're looking at here is typing this prompt into the free version of ChatGPT. And here's my prompt. There are 5 bats flying around in a room. You enter the room, look around for something to hit them with, and you see a bat leaning against the wall. You grab it and start swinging for the fences. You hit and kill two of them. How many bats are left in the room? So ChatGPT 3.5, the free version, says there are still 5 bats left in the room. This is because now, so technically that's accurate, if it's not counting the bat leaning up against the wall. But here's its explanation. Here's its logic, its reasoning for why it gave that answer. This is because the bat you hit and killed was the one you grabbed from the wall, not one of the bats flying around. So even though you killed 2 bats with your swing, there were still 5 bats flying around in the room after the incident. Now, it added the flying around in the room part, but that is not right by any stretch. Like, that's not even close in any way. So let's see what happens if we copy that prompt, that exact same prompt, and we put it into GPT Plus, into 4. Here's the answer. There are now 3 bats left in the room. There were originally 5 bats flying around, and you killed 2 of them with the bat you found. So 5 minus 2 equals 3 bats remaining. Now, that's a pretty good answer, but I still want to know if it understands what did you use to kill the bats. So my next prompt in the GPT-4 is, what did I use to kill the bats? And the answer it gave me is, you used a bat. And in parentheses, it says a type of bat or a type of club typically used in sports like baseball or cricket. In parentheses, to kill the bats, parentheses, the flying mammals. So not only did it describe, it used the word that I used and then described the meaning of the word, the context of the word, and then it described the context. It differentiated the context between the sporting club and the flying mammals. That's super impressive, right? Like, that's pretty cool. What does 3.5 think? I asked 3.5, copied and paste, what did I use to kill the bats? And the answer that the free version gave me is, as an AI language model, I cannot determine what you used to kill the bats, as there was no information given on the initial statement of the problem. It's possible that you used the bat you grabbed from the wall, or you may have found something else in the room to use as a weapon in the room, or you may have found something else to use as a weapon in the room. However, it's worth noting that harming or killing animals is not ethical or recommended. So it's doing some interesting things here. It's identifying that I'm harming animals, which is really cool, but its logic is just not there. It really doesn't know what I'm talking about. It's pulling bits and pieces. It understands that there's some bat killing going on in this room. It's not happy about it, and I respect that. I respect that. I like that it's telling me to, it's bringing some ethics into this, but it's just not smart. So that's really the difference between 3.5 and 4, and the difference is huge. It is absolutely leaps and bounds. So I absolutely recommend everything that I've ever showed you, at least since GPT-4 came out, is using GPT-4. So if you're using my prompts and you're putting it into your free version and you're not getting answers, the same types of answers that I'm getting, it's because you're not using the upgraded version. Um, okay, so this use case is going to be my example next week. So next week, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to take a single video and how to train ChatGPT to be you, to act like you, and produce a series of content that that acts like you, that sounds like you, and is almost indistinguishable from you. So that's what I've got for 101. please go and sign up. If you're interested in this, you can follow me. I'm going to kind of take it from this 101 and I'm going to start layering on some more and more complex prompts, more and more complex strategies using ChatGPT. So get in there, play with this, give it some logic, start learning the ins and outs of it, and join me next week when we teach it how to be you. That should be interesting. Well, thanks for watching. We will see you next time. Bye.